Let me take you back to the 1980s and introduce you to a teenager named Angelo Regino. He was born and raised in the Rancho San Pedro projects and became a San Pedro 13 in his early teenage years. During the mid-1980s, Angelo started being called the caveman because he was truly a wild teenager. And oddly enough, he had an obsession with the movie Nightmare on Elm Street, and more specifically Freddy Krueger. He was known to re-watch the movie on VHS over and over. And fair enough, some people really like a movie and the feeling they get from it, so who's to judge, right? No, not in this case, because Angelo would take this to an extreme level. He began wearing a scary mask, a fedora hat, and a striped sweatshirt. And not only would he look the part, but he would go on some insane sprees. And it all began on the night of January 7th, 1988. Angelo decides to take the bus all the way up to Santa Monica, looking to do Freddy Krueger types of things. He begins strolling the neighborhood. As he's walking down 18th Street, he finds a man laying down, sleeping in the back of his pickup truck. Bang! After this, Angelo walks down to 17th Street and hides in the bushes. A man named Ruel Cruz walks by and Angelo jumps out of the bushes. He starts yelling that he's Freddy Krueger and wants the man's clothes for some reason. So the man follows his directions and then runs away. And after this, somehow Angelo makes it back to San Pedro without being caught. So the spree is not over. The next day, Angelo goes to a convenience store where he's able to hit for $6,000, but everything would end 3 days later. After going down for everything, Angelo would still be offered a way out. The DA would allow him to point fingers at his friends, but Angelo would keep his mouth shut. And because of this, he will never be getting out. So after this, Angelo the Caveman became an infamous name in San Pedro. It's kind of like a story that no one believes until they look it up for themselves. Because of incidents like this, Rancho San Pedro gained a bad reputation throughout LA. So much so that the mayor began calling for it to be demolished for good. But residents would fight to keep it from being demolished and the plans fell apart. But in retrospect, maybe they would have been better off going through with it, because the 1990s would be a crazy decade in Rancho San Pedro. And before you call me crazy, let me explain. Historically, Dodge City and San Pedro 13 were not rivals. They weren't friends either, but they definitely left each other alone and dealt with their own issues. San Pedro 13 was rivals with Wilma's 13, which is short for the city of Wilmington, located just north of them. And Dodge City was rivals with Waterfront Piru, which are located in Wilmington as well. So overall, San Pedro and Wilmington were pretty much at odds for the 1980s and early 90s. In fact, the whole harbor area was just as crazy as South Central and Compton during this time. The only difference is that they barely got any media coverage. The Wilmington and San Pedro rivalry was a daily occurrence according to LAPD. They even had to dedicate a whole task force to try to intervene. But all of that would calm down in 1996, and not because of any truce. It happened by default. Let me explain. The legend goes that there was a barbecue in Rancho San Pedro with Dodge City and San Pedro 13. And there, an argument broke out between two guys, and that led to the loss of a Dodge City man. The next day, Dodge City would return the favor, and after this, all relations completely fell apart. Dodge City and San Pedro 13 became instant rivals, and all of their issues with Wilmington had to take a back seat. This became one of the wildest situations that's never talked about. They lived in the same apartments, so they were rivals with their own neighbors. But just when you thought it couldn't possibly get worse than that, it started to not even matter if you were Dodge City or not.